Mark only goes after boys 12 and older. But then I realized that I did know Mark. It's just that I knew him under a different name that he used in the 80s. Patient Zero. This is the beginning, folks! No, listen. To his credit, Mark said if he was going to do this roast, there would be a no-holds-barred approach. So, if you're ready and Mark's ready, I'm ready. Now, Mark also claims that she is Ben de la Creme and Jinx Monsoon's drag mother. Which would explain why they aren't here tonight. And why they claim that their mother died of a drug overdose at a Chuck E. Cheese years ago. Mark also tells people she's friends with Sandra Bernhard, despite Sandra's lawyers repeatedly ordering her not to do that. But she does tell a great story, never on stage for some reason. And by some reason, I mean drugs and alcohol. Before I came out, I asked the manager just to make sure, because sometimes Portland and Seattle are more politically correct. And I said, what's the correct way to refer to her? Is it trans, transgender, transvestite, drag queen, gay? You looked at me weird, so just call it whatever you want to call it. A fucking retard.
Love your hair.
There will be no sympathy. There will be no sympathy. Because I'm the bitch that doesn't know this whore. Okay? Wait until the ones who do come out. I sift through my notes that I don't know how to use a printer. Anyway, there's going to be lots of jokes tonight about Mark's looks, but I want to point out that Mark actually has a very pretty face. It's just hiding behind that big, horrible, greasy nose. Another high point that I managed to just hear from a friend. Mark was very excited when she turned 65 and she found out that she could ride the buses for free. But she was a little disappointed when she realized that that did not include school buses. By the number of major celebrities that are going to be on this roasting panel tonight, you can all clearly see that through her years, Mark has cut a large swath in the Seattle show business community. I mean, some of these girls have even worked in Portland. There's even Everett. What? Everett's the WeHo of Seattle? Donatella, you shut up. Giving up cities.
Donatella who?
Well, I think that's really about it for me. Anyway, I think, are we ready for our first real roaster? Because, I mean, you know, it's a beautiful night and the weather sucks here in Seattle, so we got a good turnout, but I have to admit, ticket sales were a little slow, and for a minute there, it was like, wow, these roasters are lining up to rip the shit out of Mark, but is anyone going to be in the audience? Because at one point, there were more roasters than Mark has T-cells.
I'm just getting tired.
So, freshen Mark's? Can we freshen Mark's drink? I think we need to keep him coming because that drunk act at the beginning didn't fool anybody. No, honey. If this crowd knows you, if you got up to, and I did love that opening outfit, would you consider putting that scarf back on? Okay. We're gonna bring our first. I'm gonna try to hold the mic and try to act like. Oh, here we go.
Spread them.
Spread them?
Yeah.
What will that? I mean, if there was big, it's not exactly big and black, big and gray. Well, get used to it. Let me find the fucking Jordan. We got Freddie B? Oh, Jenny B. You're all here benefiting Jenny B, which is a wonderful organization. And they didn't even tell me your name. They just said Jenny B. I don't think that's you. Jenny B. It was the name of some of the organizations incredible. Let's give it up for a representative who will introduce himself from Jenny B.
Thank you very much, Lady Bunny. My mother always told me to treat a woman nicely, but I don't have a change for $1, so I'm sorry. Hi. I'm Will. Pleasure to meet you all. I'm a representative and founder of the GDP. Thank you all very much for coming out here and eviscerating this horrible ass drag queen. Let's give her a round of applause. I used to be this lovely lady's assistant back before she was escorted kindly out of Neighbors. And if there's one thing that I learned from working with a drag queen, it's that drag queens are one of the few beings in nature, other than Keith Richards, who can take drugs, pills, and alcohol and create a performance out of it. Okay, now here's where I go on script. I apologize. When Mark invited me to be here tonight, I was a little worried because I didn't know if the CDC had enough hazmat suits for you all. But Mark assured me that he'd be the one in quarantine, so we'd all be safe. So, obviously he lied, and I really hope none of you get syphilis of the eye just by looking at him tonight. You get an STD, you get an STD, everyone gets an STD! I'm going to speak briefly about the Jimmy B. We're an arts organization that is now based in Seattle. We are dedicated to reconnecting the artist and the audience because there's too much of a disconnect nowadays. It's like there's a fucking rainbow bear or whatever the fuck that is on the wall. I want to talk to the artist. So that's what we're doing. We're bringing the artist and the audience back together again. Our goal is to create a facility to also create 80 units of affordable housing for artists. And we'll also be creating a steadfast relationship with the community by creating free young artist programs where they get to interact with local artists. We're going to be holding weekly P-Flag meetings and having our own chapter in-house. And we'll be giving back by highlighting all of the local artists as opposed to bringing them in from across the states. I'm going to let everyone get back to their job and eviscerating her because Lord knows she needs it after working with her for 6 months. And, I mean, let me tell you, there was enough. But we are in need of your support. So, apparently at some point, buckets from the cheerleaders are going to be passed around. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you. Feel free to give anything out of your wallets. And I also will be taking PayPal donations in my laptop upstairs if you're ready. So thank you guys very much. Mark, I love you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. And may you live long and prosper with your 2 T-cells.
Thank you so much. And I want you to pass those buckets around more than honey buckets been passed around. Make some fucking money for the Jenny B Foundation tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them. Mark chose this organization, correct? And they are perfect because, I can't see. They are perfect because the Jenny Bee is an arts laboratory. Ooh, is that where you make your meth? It's an arts laboratory. You call it art, I call it meth. It's an art laboratory that, there is?
Go into the light barrel area.
Oh, but then I have to show them the runs and the stains on the back of my pantyhose. It solves the problem of the solitary artist, the struggle of the solitary artist, which Mark is only too familiar with because the bitches burned every bridge in Seattle. And the bitch is also a troll who lives under a bridge. The Jenny Bee is about creating, I got this from their website. The Jenny Bee is about creating opportunity to create, no, let me go ahead and laugh, because I might like it better. The Jenny Bee is about creating opportunity. Opportunity to create in a safe, nurturing environment.